Now, Ramadan begins this week, a time when many Muslims will fast from dawn to dusk to develop good habits like patience, endurance and charity. Iftar is when the fast is broken with family and friends, and it's an important part of the day.
To take us through some Ramadan specialties, we are joined by food content creator, Lena Jubaili. Lena, it's great to have you back in the studio.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now, you have brought in some beautiful food, as you always do, so thank you so much. We'll get to it in just a moment. But ahead of the start of Ramadan, for those who aren't familiar with it, just tell us a bit more about what it's about.
So Ramadan is the 9th Islamic month, which begins this week. So basically we fast for the whole month, 30 days, from, like you said, from dawn till dusk. And we're basically fasting from, yes, the most obvious is from food and water, but it's also a time for us to kind of reflect and try and build good habits, you know, endurance and a time for reflection. And everybody is really different, you know, what they focus on. So, you know, if you really think I need to work on my patience, then that's what I'm going to try and work on, because the idea is if you're impatient or get angry really quickly or rude or whatever it is, you're kind of breaking your fast as well. So it's not just about eating and drinking.
Is it difficult?
The first couple of days that you do it, they're not easy, I have to admit, but your body gets used to it quite quickly. It's not as tough as people think. Yeah.
You've brought in some food for us today. Is this the sorts of food that you would break the fast with? And what have you brought?
Growing up, we always had these types of traditional breads, and we mostly eat them at what we call suhoor time, which is the pre-dawn meal. So many people actually get up just before sunrise and they'll have a breakfast before they start their day, and we'll have these types of breads because they're just easy to kind of pick up and
it looks like more than a bit of bread though, Lee. What are these ones?
So it's both the same dough actually, and we call these mashatih, which is probably a bit tricky to pronounce, and they're spiced with aniseed powder. Yeah, so they're a tad sweet, but they also have that spice in there too. I love them. They're just so delicious. Beautiful soft bread. And the other ones on the other side in front of you, Joanna, are stuffed with dates. You can stuff it with cheese.
These are dates.
They are dates. So dates are really important throughout the whole month. They're kind of seen as a...
Try some.
Yeah, go for it. They're seen like a prophetic food. So there's a lot of narrations going back to the Prophet Muhammad who talks about, you know, eating dates, and health-wise as well, we know a lot more about, you know, how nutritious they are. And when you break your fast, they're kind of a great fruit to start with, because that sugar level kind of balances back, you know, your blood glucose levels. It's a nice little kind of hit of energy before you start your meal.
We should say, Lena, that you make these breads on your Insta account as well, which you show how you can make them, what foods are good for having around Ramadan. People that aren't in Ramadan, and we all have colleagues in the office who do, is there a certain perspective that we should take, that how we should deal with people, what we should say, what we shouldn't say?
Look, I did bring this up on my socials recently, because I found over the years, I mean, I'm self-employed now, so my boss is great, like, you know, but obviously, you know, I have a lot of family and friends who really wish that their employers would know a little bit more. And I mean, the percentage of Muslims in Australia is kind of big enough that you may have Muslim colleagues who are participating in Ramadan, in fasting. So it's really important that you know just some basics about, because I mean, over the years it's always the cliche, oh, not even water. It's like, well, okay, let's move beyond that.
Get tired.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, quick Google will tell you the basics of what Ramadan is and what fasting is, just a bit of the things I explained earlier, but also too how to kind of be a bit more respectful, a bit more understanding, because although we try and pull through with the fasting, you know, sometimes by the end of the day your energy levels kind of drop. There are also a lot more prayers and things like that we do. So, you know, you might be a bit off Work commitments shouldn't change because that kind of defies what we're trying to do during the fasting month. But, you know, it's important for employers and colleagues to kind of be understanding and be a bit empathetic of what you're going through, and know that, you know, at iftar time, you know, to not schedule meetings, for example, because you want to be with your family and your friends breaking your fast and things like that. You know, you can check out, I did a few slides on my Instagram which kind of give you a bit of pointers if you're interested, for employers to help support their staff during this 30 days. So I hope people kind of pay a bit more attention to it. Would be nice.
Because often food is a part of the workplace, whether people are eating their lunch or whatever, but also communal eating is often part of office life or wherever you work. So is it up to employers then to perhaps shift or change those habits just for the period of Ramadan?
Look, for me and for many of us, it's not offensive. Like, if I'm fasting today and you're eating in front of me, I wouldn't think twice about it. Like, it's not, I'm not going to be offended by that. But if you're sitting there saying, oh, smell this bread, this bread is amazing, I'll phone, you know, call you can't, that's rude. I mean, it's kind of obvious what's disrespectful and what's offensive. In the workplace, if you're specifically organising an event that's based around food, then you're going to feel a bit excluded. So maybe employers can think about that, you know, about, you know, your meetings. If you generally have a lot of food during your meetings, or if it's all about having drinks and things like that, then perhaps postpone it or do something a bit different during that time, just so that the people fasting don't feel left out.
Well, this is absolutely delicious. It's got a sweetness to it.
Yes, it does. It does. We're dipped in a bit of Lebanese.
I know. What is that?
That's a strained yogurt. So it's kind of got this tart flavour. It's a creamy, thick yogurt. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Lena, always great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
This for us. And all the best with Ramadan.
Thank you. Thanks so much.